bit about what causes stress. In very brief, what happens to your body when you are under stress. Okay. Now, what causes stress? Uncertainty. If I have to get from my home to Adfactor's office and I'm not sure which train to catch, which bus to catch, how much time it's going to take me, then I'm not sure whether I can get here by 10:15. Cause of anxiety, cause of worry. Am I going to reach in time? Will Noman shout at me for not reaching in time? Etc. etc. But if it is known that it's going to take you X amount of time or X amount of money to do a certain thing, then there is planning required, there is action required, but there is no stress, no anxiety, no worry. Right? The other kind of stress is temporary. The other cause of stress is the need for immediate action. You have to jump into a train, so as you come, you watch the train coming, you gear up, you settle yourself properly, on your marks, get set, and then you do it. Once you're in the train, settled in, the stress is over. Your heartbeat is down to normal, your breathing is not, your muscles are back to normal, your stress is over. This is temporary stress which we all go through perhaps a dozen times a day or more. Crossing a road, climbing down a bridge. I gave you the example of getting into a train or a bus. It's the same thing, right? Temporary anger, you shout at somebody for something which has not been done, also causes stress, but temporary. Unless, of course, you go on shouting for 2 hours. Then it happens. Now, when this sort of stress happens, there are certain chemicals in the body which are generated in excess of normal. One very common thing is cortisol. Cortisol is a chemical generated from a gland just on top of the kidneys. Can anyone tell me what the gland is? No? Go by the name. I'm saying it's the adrenal gland, which means it's on top of the kidney. In handling all subjects related to life sciences, you must try and understand the constituent of each word. Biosimilar is actually 2 words, bio and similar, right? You know what similar means, you know what bio means, then you know what biosimilar means. That was just an example, nothing to do with stress, but still. Now, the other thing which happens is, along with cortisol, there is another drug, chemical, called adrenaline. And there is yet another called noradrenaline, which are really related. They keep switching from one to the other. Now, where is adrenaline produced in the body from? Adrenaline is from the adrenal glands, which I said a moment ago sits on top of the kidneys. Yes? Okay. Now, adrenaline and noradrenaline are the chemicals which do all that, create your palpitation, push your heart rate up, push your blood, and you get a sort of feeling of warmth, if you wish, as your muscles prepare to become more active than usual. Right? The same thing happens when you worry about something. A moment ago I was telling you, just before Noman entered, about uncertainty. You're not sure of what you need to do or what you can expect, So now, anxiety and worry do the same kind of things, but on a lower scale over a much wider period. While temporary stress provoked by immediate activity helps you to settle down, it is normally said that after a a sort of hyperactivity, even something like climbing up 2 flights of stairs in a hurry, you should normally settle down within 3 to 5 minutes. If you don't, something is wrong. In other words, your heart rate should come down to normal, your breathing should come down to normal. If it doesn't come down, maybe your heart needs to be checked. That's a sign. 3 to 5 minutes is normally the time required. In long-term stress, which is where I keep coming back to anxiety, worry, unhappiness, dissatisfaction, right? What you get there is a lower scale. It's a little bit like having a 99 fever throughout the year. Just imagine yourself having a fever of 99.6 throughout the year. It's going to make you weak, it's going to make you lose fluids, it's going to make you less energetic, right? That's what stress does to you, right? Other consequences, you can't sleep properly, you keep waking up, you can't eat properly. If you force yourself to eat, you don't digest properly, because these chemicals draw blood into certain organs, your heart, your lungs, your muscles. Now you only have, what's the amount of blood that you have in your body? 5.25 liters. All of us, from age 5 to age 95. Yeah? Okay. So if, let us say, for a certain period of a few minutes or a couple of hours, your heart needs to overact, that extra blood will come from somewhere, right? It usually comes from the digestive system, it usually comes from the sleep mechanisms, the parts of the brain that control your sleep, and it comes from your immune system. Later in the session, I will explain to you why this is so important. Now, before I go on to, so therefore, chronic stress is today the single most important cause of most illnesses. Take blood pressure, take diabetes, take cancer, sleeplessness, nightmares, and so on and so forth. Just yesterday, 2-3 days ago, in our Seven Hills Hospital, we have posted a blog which says that those who have sleep problems are more prone to diabetes than those who sleep well. Amazing, right? There's another one which says that sleep problems are in some way tend to accentuate obesity, right? Okay, coming back to our subject. So therefore, we know that all the ill effects of an overactive cardiological system, heart, blood vessels, etc., all the ill effects of deprivation of blood in the liver, in the digestive system, etc., are the consequences of chronic stress.